The silver edge of evening cut the glass. I watched your shadow stretch across the floor, a silent warning hidden in the dust. But I just turned the handle on the door. I let the quiet of the room dissolve and swallowed down the instinct in my chest. I saw the avalanche before it fell. I heard the cracking of the frozen lake. I held the match but blamed the wishing well for every single choice I didn't make. I should've said no when the water rushed in. I should've built walls where the daylight was thin. I traded my peace for a beautiful lie and surrendered the sovereignty I couldn't buy. Now I'm tracing the ruins of where I began. You painted constellations on my skin to distract me from the gravity of space. I let the atmospheric pressure win and gave into the danger of your grace. The oxygen was leaving as you spoke, but I inhaled the venom like a cure. The sweetest poison on my tongue, the fatal song I left unsung. Two little letters could have saved me, but I let your gravity enslave me. I should have said no when the water rushed in. I should have built walls where the daylight was thin. I traded my peace for a beautiful lie and surrendered the sovereignty I couldn't buy. Now I'm tracing the ruins of where I began. The architecture of my own defeat was drafted in the silence I allowed. I laid my intuition at your feet and walked into the center of the crowd. A boundary erased, a border crossed. I'm counting up the fractions of the cost. The handle turns, the shadow fades. I'm wandering through the mess I made. Just one syllable kept in sight. I watch my own defenses slide. I should have said no. I should have said no. I found you in the wreckage of a season not outgrown, when the person before you left me hollow to the bone. Dressed my wounds in the warmth of everything you gave. Used your laughter like a lantern leading me out of the cave. You never knew the version of me you were replacing. The ghost I buried underneath the smile you kept embracing. I let you love me like a remedy, not like a choice. And I borrowed your belonging just to find my voice. But borrowed light was never meant to stay, and I built a home in you just to walk away. Every tender word you gave I turned to medicine, and I hate that I knew this before it began. I used you to heal, and it wasn't fair. You gave me your whole heart, and I needed the air. I kissed you like a cure, held you like a prayer, but I was healing from someone else while standing there. I used you to heal, and I'm sorry it's true. The cruelest thing I've ever done was letting you. You made me playlists filled with songs about beginning. Never knew you were the bandage, not the ending. I watched you fall in colors I could never quite return. You were pouring out an ocean I had nothing left to earn. The tenderness you carry like it cost you nothing at all. I was catching my own breath while you were giving me yours to hold. And every time you whispered that you never let me break, I knew somewhere beneath my ribs I'd already made the mistake. I gave you almost everything except the truth that I was still some to call this love just because it felt like it. I don't get to wear your grace like I deserved a single bit. You were real and I was reconstruction, piecing back my soul. And I took your warmth like currency and left you in the cold. If there's a version of the story where you never feel the weight, where you find someone who chooses you, not someone healing late, I hope you live inside that chapter, soft and finally free. And I hope you never waste another season healing someone like me. I used you to heal, and I'll carry that long after the ache fades, long after you're back to being someone's whole truth, not someone's remedy. I used you to heal, and I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I left the lights on when you came inside, rearranged the quiet, made my silence wide. You hung your shadows on my brightest wall and called it living, but I felt the fall. I gave you mornings wrapped in golden dew, poured every tender thing I had into you. But a garden isn't yours just 'cause you stayed. It's still my earth, even if you made it shade. I see it now through all the fog you left behind. You built a shelter in me, but never meant to stay the night. And I kept the door unlocked, hoping you'd come back right. But I was just a halfway house on your way to somewhere bright. My heart is not your home. You can't just leave your things and go. Plant your roots inside my bones. Then I'll brew when the cold wind blows. I was never just a place to rest your tired head. I was the whole house, you just lived there in my head. My heart is not your home. It's the only sacred space I own. You spoke in whispers like they'd hold no weight, touched me like a bookmark just to mark your place. I memorized the rhythm of the way you'd leave, packed yourself in silence like you couldn't breathe. I painted over every wall you leaned against, burned the lavender and cleared your fingerprints. Still the architecture of the way you moved through me, left a hallway with no door, missing keys. Not your harbor, not your hollow, not your hiding place, not the mirror where you practice putting on a face. This just was never built for temporary grace. My heart is not your home, it's my sacred space. My heart is not your home. You can't just leave your things and go. Plant your roots inside my bones. Then I'll brew when the cold wind blows. I was never just a place to rest your tired head. I was the whole house, you just lived there in my head. My heart is not your home. It's the only sacred space I own. I'm reclaiming every corner that you dimmed, every window that I shuttered just for him. I'm learning how to breathe in rooms where you were never real, learning what it means to finally start to heal. The floorboards still remember where you stood, but I'm laying down the wood where sorrow could. This isn't ruins, this is renovation now. I'm not rebuilding you, I'm rebuilding how. So take your borrowed warmth back to the road. I'll keep the silence, keep the soft, keep what I've known. This heart was never yours to lose or find. It was always only beautiful. You arrive like rain on a wildfire sky, soft enough to calm what no one else could find. I wore my broken heart beneath a borrowed smile. You kissed the cracks and called them works of light. But every gentle promise stained your fingertips as my unfinished storms learned how to breathe. You loved a soul still drowning in old oceans, and I let your mercy sink with me. Every time you reach for heaven, I pull the angels to the ground. Your love became a courtroom where silence was the loudest sound. Now you wear the guilt of your love like a white dress caught beneath the mud. You only wanted to save my soul, but the flood forgot where mercy goes. If love and me became your deepest sky, then I'll carry the blame wherever you are. You shouldn't have to bleed enough to bear the guilt of your love. The moon still hangs above our empty window, a witness that refuses to forget. I folded every memory into paper. Birds still they circled back with broken wings instead. I found my darkness only belonged to me until it found a home inside your eyes. Now every beautiful thing you once believed falls apart whenever my name arrives. Your love was never the crime. Loving me was. Now you wear the guilt of your love like a white dress caught beneath the mud. You only wanted to save my soul, but the flood forgot where mercy goes. If love and me became a deepest scar, then I'll carry the blame wherever you are. You shouldn't have to bleed enough to bear the guilt of your love. One day you'll wake where my shadows can't follow. The sunrise won't remember my mistakes. You'll discover that forgiveness isn't losing me, it's finally choosing your own grace. And somewhere beyond the way we couldn't carry, I'll learn that love was never meant to feel like punishment. So leave